This is the Moonlight Graham Show, a freewheeling conversation with the role players, the underdogs, and guys with flat-out great stories in sports.
Hello and welcome back to the Moonlight Graham Show, where we celebrate the role players and the underdogs in sports. And our Moonlighter for today was a first-round draft pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. And you might be asking yourself, what the heck is the Moonlight Graham Show, a podcast about the role players and the underdogs doing with a first-round draft pick on their podcast? Well, this first-rounder was not your typical first-round NFL draft pick. He was not a blue chipper. Our Moonlighter for today was a B-team player in middle school. He went on to the University of Northern Iowa, where he was redshirted during his first year, and some said he might have been the worst player on the entire team during his redshirt freshman season. Well, he worked his butt off. He became mean, and just a couple of years later, he was a first-round draft pick for the New Orleans Saints. His name is Trevor Penning. If you followed the NFL draft this past year, you saw Trevor Penning on draft night, and I loved the draft night footage because it showed him and his O-lineman buddies, his family, at the OP, the Other Place bar and pizza place up in Clear Lake. And I thought it was pretty refreshing to see this group of Iowans getting together at the local watering hole, the OP up in Clear Lake, eating pizza, drinking beer on draft night. When you see so many of those hometown cameras on draft night where guys are dressed up in the three-piece suits, everybody is on edge. And this draft party for Trevor Penning in Clear Lake looked like the party that I wanted to go to, and it looked like Iowa to me. So I really appreciated that. And I thought, man, we got to find a way to get that guy on the podcast. Well, sure enough, former Moonlighter Cal Twait, who has been a mentor for many of the great O-linemen in UNI history, he connected us with Trevor. And Trevor, I believe, is going to be reporting down to the Saints here this week to start his pro career. He jumped on the podcast with us late last week, and I was excited to get him here on the Moonlight Graham Show because he is a true Moonlighter. Like I said, a B-teamer in middle school, a guy that had to work for everything that was given to him, and a guy that has turned himself into a premier pro prospect and probably a guy that's going to have a long and successful career in the NFL. And I think you guys are going to love this episode. Of course, special thanks to our sponsors, The People's Company, Matt Adams, Andrew Zomer, two hardworking guys in their own right. Check them out at peoplescompany.com. Those guys can push some sleds as well, just like Trevor Penning and his brother Ken. And enjoy today's episode with Moonlighter, Trevor Penning. Moonlighters, are you or someone you know moving down to Kansas City? Well, if you are, the one realtor that we trust and yet you need to be calling is the great Brian Sandvig. As you well know, Brian Sandvig is our producer here on the podcast, and there is not a better residential real estate advisor down in the Kansas City marketplace than Brian Sandvig. Call Brian Sandvig, shoot him a text. Hey, DM us on social media. We'll get you connected with Brian if you can't find him on all the socials, but he is there and he is active, and he is your Kansas City realtor, so give him a call. Trevor Penning, first-round draft pick of the New Orleans Saints, joining the Moonlight Graham Show. Trevor, you might be the first-round draft pick we've ever had here on the podcast. How's it feel to have that in front of your name right now?
It's definitely a really good feeling. I mean, over the years, I've been, working for it and working at, being the best football player I can be. To have that now, it's a good stepping stone. It's definitely good, but I mean, I don't want to stop there. Just being a first rounder, I want to continue, playing, hopefully, all pro, Super Bowl, Hall of Fame. So that's kind of the goal now. That's kind of what I'm really, that's, you got to have a goal to look forward to. So it's good to have that, of course, but you want to keep going.
Absolutely. And going back to draft night, what I loved about draft night was the video cameras that were on your family that night just when I saw that, I was like, man, that just looks like every other Iowa family that's out there, right? So often you see like these draft night videos, and it's this huge party where everybody's in suits, and it's like, man, I can't relate to that at all. And then they show your family, and it's like, oh, that looks like my living room at home. I loved it. What was that draft night like for you and your family?
Well, I mean, like you said, it was kind of like very, I don't know, Midwestern. I mean, I went to the other place in Clear Lake and had it there, and it was, I don't know, with all the suits and stuff like some people do, and like, all dressed up, all fancy. It's kind of not me. Like, I mean, it was more, I felt more at home almost, just being comfortable, relaxed, just a good time. I mean, at a restaurant that I grew up, my mom actually worked there for how many years, I don't know, but so it was an incredible night for sure. It was one of the best nights of my life. I mean, it really, like a dream, like became a reality almost. And I got to get onto an NFL team. I mean, not only get onto a team, first round pick, and being able to hear your name called. I mean, that was an incredible feeling I'll never forget. So it was an incredible night. I mean, being with family and friends, just being able to celebrate with, what all that, I've accomplished, we've accomplished. I think every O lineman was there from this past year. I wanted to make sure all the O linemen were there. I wanted to, O line's a brotherhood in my eyes. I mean, you got to have a bunch of, they're my best friends on that team. So I had the whole line there. I had a couple extra guys from the team, but it was definitely a really, really incredible night.
So as a former UNI Panther myself, I know how tight Panthers are with the OP. So I appreciate it. Even though you weren't in the Cedar Falls OP, you were doing it up in Clear Lake. When you get drafted and the cameras turn off, how many beers do you and the rest of the O lineman guys instantly chug?
Oh, shoot. They were chugging beers during the draft. Like, I think some of the guys were doing shots after shots, like every draft pick I wasn't picked or whatever. And, I mean, they were out there. They were getting pretty wild, but I was kind of serious that night. I had to be kind of careful with some stuff. So, and honestly, I was just nervous more than anything. I didn't really want to. I was just sitting there just waiting for my name. But, after the cameras got off, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, we're a podcast here about like the role players and the underdogs in sports. And when I'm hearing your story, obviously I knew your name because I follow UNI football, being a former UNI guy myself. But I start reading more about your story, and I find out, you transferred to Mason City Newman after 8th grade at Clear Lake. And, I'm seeing some stuff, I don't know what's true or not, that you were on the B team at Clear Lake and, just weren't really excelling. And then all of a sudden you found a home at Mason City Newman. What was that like when you were in 8th grade maybe and being a B teamer, and, kind of what was your outlook on sports at that point in your life?
Early on in my life, sports were like, I liked them and all, but I wasn't super serious about them. I wasn't super good at them. I wasn't really anything special. And, I kind of actually started to like baseball. The reason I kind of went to Newman was,
they're a baseball factory.
Yeah, but I was on a traveling baseball team with Newman guys, and I made some good friends with them. And I decided, like, hey, I'm just going to go over there. I mean, I enjoyed being around the guys. They're a really good group of guys, so I transferred over there. And then I ended up, playing baseball another 2 or 3 more years. And after that, I kind of was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to play baseball anymore. So it's kind of funny. But, the switch over was definitely I look at it both ways now. Like, I could see myself like staying there, like being there, see what could have been there and stuff like that. But even going to Newman, I enjoyed my time there. It was good. I made some good friends there. I look at it both ways. It was good. It was good for sure.
We were talking about it with Spencer Brown as well. When you go to UNI and all of a sudden you're one of these kind of under recruited linemen like Spencer Brown was, and all of a sudden you get in that Jed Smith weight program where they got you guys putting on weight and working out. What's it like as a lineman, 5 years of that program to be eating, 5-6 meals a day, having to work out on top of it, and then trying to get better at your craft all at the same time? That seems like a lot.
It is. It's a lot of work for sure. The amount of calories I've had to consume, the amount of workouts I've done, all that stuff. It paid off in the end. It definitely paid off, but it's a lot of work. A lot of guys aren't willing to do that. And, you got to have a reason you really want to, and you got to really want it. It's on you. No coach is going to, they can tell you all you want. It's up to you to be able to actually want to. So, that weight room program, it's no joke. I've done a ton of different, I've heard from all different guys across the country, and training with guys in Texas, teammates now in New Orleans, and our weight room program, we do it. We got a tough one, and it pays off for sure. That's why, honestly, we're definitely one of the top tier strength guys in the country, no matter FBS, FCS. Like we put out guys that are, we got guys that are way stronger than some of the top guys at BCS schools. I know there's a story. What was it? We had an old strength coach, Kane Thompson. He was telling me he was at because he's a former UNI alum. He played at UNI in 2009 or something, and he's a strength coach now. And he went to, I think he went to Minnesota for a little bit. He was at Purdue, then he came to UNI, and he was just like, yeah, they don't train like that we do at UNI, and they just kind of. They didn't believe him because he would tell the teams this, yeah, the UNI is they're no joke there. They train different, and they wouldn't believe him and stuff. Okay, you got to go check it out for yourself. And so we train a lot harder than that. We train really hard, and it's definitely something that we kind of pride ourselves on.
When did things start clicking for you as a football player? When you went from just maybe another guy at UNI to being a redshirt guy to all of a sudden starting games to then all of a sudden being one of the top O linemen in the country. When did that switch flip internally in your own head when you said to yourself, I can do this, I can be the guy?
I would probably say after really when COVID happened, kind of when COVID, becoming a thing, we got locked down and everything. That's when I think things really started to kind of click with me. Going into that winter, I had a pretty good off season, I'd say, and then everything kind of got shut. We were about to have spring ball, and everything got shut down. And that was kind of, it was hard. I was like, okay, I was finally starting to get it. And then during that time off during lockdown, me and my brother, we were grinding every day. We were 3 months straight. We were lifting every day, workouts every day, just doing a bunch of stuff. We're having spring ball. We basically had our own spring ball at home. We would do the exact stuff we do at practice. Obviously not the team part, but Indo, O-line drills. We'd do all that stuff. We'd get lifts in. We'd do all that extra conditioning, all that stuff, getting ready. And by the time we came back that summer for summer workouts, it was we didn't lose a step. We were so much farther ahead than other guys, even everyone says they're working and stuff, but when you get back, it was it's nothing new. It almost made lifting there easy, because we were pushing ourselves. So that's kind of when things started to click, was during that time, because me and him developed so much during that time, just helping each other, and we were working every day, and we just improved. And that's kind of when I got pretty confident in my ability. And then playing that, so that fall was canceled. We had spring ball, and that's kind of when the fall practices. That's kind of when I got pretty confident. I'm okay, I can really be mauling people out here. And then come that spring, I thought I had a pretty good spring, and then that kind of put me on some radars for some. So Yeah.
What's it like being on the line with your little brother?
Very, very cool experience. Like probably my favorite thing being at UNI with him was playing next to him. I mean, every day, I mean, we were workout partners. We're best of friends. We hang out all the time. I mean, we live together. I'm actually in his room right now. So,
Do you guys ever fight? Like, did you ever fight in the huddle when somebody would mess up?
No, he kind of just listened to me. he got kind of just. No, there were some times where he was like, I don't know. I remember there was one game. I don't remember what it was. I think it was South Dakota we played him this year, and I was like in someone's face, like talking to him, like talking trash and stuff. And he was like scared I was gonna get like a personal foul or something. He was like, "Hey, chill out or whatever." I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, sure, I probably should, but yeah, we don't fight. He probably just gets in my ear a couple of times. I get in his ear all the time too. So it's we keep each other in check, really. So
yeah, one of the reports on you is that you're fiery, right? And like you play with an intensity. You brought up trash talk there. Do you run your mouth with that same level of intensity that you play with?
A little bit, not as much. I mean, I talk trash when I need to talk trash. Really, sometimes I'll get fired up, but usually it's kind of I kind of just play in between the whistle. I'm just going to try to dominate you within the whistle, and after the play, I just come back and do it again. So,
yeah. So during the NFL draft process, what I always think is interesting about it is you got the Mel Kipers and the Todd McShays and all these draft nicks, right? And they spend so much time talking about what guys cannot do, right? So all of a sudden, Trevor Penning is one of the top O linemen in the country, and you rise the charts, and everybody thinks you're going to be a first rounder. But then when you turn on the TV and people are talking about you, it's mostly about what you can't do. And what's it like when you're watching ESPN and most of the time, even though you're a first round draft pick, they're still critiquing, maybe what fit, what system, and like on all these, the negative side of it too.
I don't know. If I see that stuff or anything, I mean, I don't really pay too much attention to it, but if I hear about it or something, it really just motivates me. It fuels my fire almost. I mean, that's kind of how my whole career's kind of been under recruited, all that stuff. Like people telling me I'm not good enough and, not strong enough and too soft or anything like that. Like it just really, I mean, it fuels my fire. I like proving people wrong. There's no better feeling than doing that. So, honestly kind of like when people do that. it motivates me more. So, but it's definitely, I don't hate it, but it's like, it gives me something, pretty much fight for. So.
Have you gotten any advice from Spencer Brown or other UNI linemen that have played in the NFL about what to expect over the next, 6 to 10 months for you?
Yeah, Spencer, I talked to him a little bit during the draft process. I talked to him, just kind of for advice, like what to expect, like with the Senior Bowl, combine, that stuff, and the rookie season coming up now. And basically just said, it's going to be hard work, long weeks. With that Senior Bowl, that's a long week. Combine's a long week, but just basically be ready for it and show up when you're expected to, and just play hard and go hard, and go get drafted as high as possible, pretty much. So, and then with the rookie season, he just basically said it's a long year for rookies. I mean, it is. You basically don't get a break from, like, I haven't had a break really since, what is it? The end of so we had the end of the season. We played a whole football season in the fall, had to get ready for the Senior Bowl, get ready for the Combine, Pro Day. Then you get drafted, then you're down in New Orleans, and now I'm back home for like 3 weeks. I was home. So that's really my only break I've had since last summer, really. So you just said really just get ready to work and, put time into it.
What excites you about New Orleans?
Really just playing professional football. I mean, that's the best. And then New Orleans, I mean, you've gone to a better town. I mean, they love football down there. Like, I've learned that very quick when I was down. Like, the first literally in the airport when I was getting there, there was like people going like, "Oh my God, welcome to New Orleans! Like you're gonna love it here. Like you love the food, you're gonna love everything." And
They recognized you?
oh yeah, no, a bunch of people.
Cool. That's really cool.
Everybody recognizes you down there. Like they love their football down there. It's nuts, but so that's the coolest part probably is just all the fans that really love their Saints football, and then obviously the food. Being the lineman, food is pretty good down there.
Talk to me about like that O-lineman brotherhood that you mentioned earlier. I remember when I was at UNI, like the O-lineman there was really strong. They had Chad Reinhardt and Brandon Keith and Austin Steichen, and it was kind of that era. And those guys would always walk around like with old style T-shirts, but it was like O-line style T-shirts. And you could just tell that group of guys was like super tight, probably the tightest unit on the football team. What is it about what you guys go through together that just creates a really tight brotherhood?
It's really just all the time we spend together, and whether that's on or off the field. I mean, I lived with so the guys in my grade, my class that we came in, we all had a house for 3 years, and we spent a bunch of time together. We were basically best friends, and we spent so much time together. I mean, even working out. I mean, we're working out all the time there. We're putting in all the hours with each other. So you just develop a friendship with them because you're just always with them. And you basically share the same goal. You kind of share the same lifestyle, and you just bond, and you get really good, very good friendship with them. So it's huge. I think that's part of O-line. I mean, it's probably, you got to be the most, you got to have the most chemistry there than any group. I mean, you're really working that guy next to you. You better hope he's, on the same page. You got to make sure you know each other. Like, you got to know him better than he knows himself almost. So, I mean, I don't think any other position really you can say that. So, you got to have a brotherhood at O-line. That's what makes teams good, I think.
So, Trevor, the way we end every episode of the Moonlight Graham Show is with the 5 big questions, all right? So first question is, and you might have already answered it, but who's your all-time favorite teammate?
All-time favorite teammate? Probably my brother. I'd probably say that.
Yeah. And how long, like in high school, were you guys on the same line together as well? Or was this something like where you both blew up in college? But did you always play all the sports together growing up?
Well, he didn't go to Newman. He went to Clear Lake.
Oh, he did go to Clear Lake. I didn't know that.
He was gonna switch over, I think, in high school or something, but he decided not to. But yeah, so we didn't play next week. We didn't play. You and I was our first time ever playing on the same team, pretty much.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, no wonder you guys enjoyed it, man.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't play because he was 2 years younger than me.
Yeah,
and so middle school and all that. It was, when I was in say 7th grade, he'd be in 5th grade. So he would be the old, because they'd usually put like middle school. They'd usually put like 7th and 8th grader together, then like 5th and 6th grade team, 4th, like all that. So it's like you play with your team. I don't know what I'm saying. You're playing with 2 different.
Right. It was just 1 year away from
one, 2. Yeah. So we never played on the same team ever. Like before we got to UNI. So that was definitely a pretty cool experience. So,
who's your most hated rival?
North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, you talk about like talking trash and being fiery. Did the games with NDSU ever get chippy?
They did. Yeah, they did for sure. They did in the fall. I know.
Yeah. And what's that week like coming into an NDSU game? Like, is the level of practice just intensified that week? What's that like?
Oh yeah, Farley definitely he's on one that week is what we'd say. Yeah. He's all on a different edge. He's got the unidome. We practice inside. He's got the speakers loud, just max volume, just crowd noise, and yeah, it's a different week for sure than a normal week. But I mean, I love that. I love that though. I mean, that's kind of what you play football for, is those kind of moments. So
outside of New Orleans, because that's going to be your home stadium now, what's the one stadium in the NFL that you just cannot wait to play
in? Probably US Bank, Minnesota.
Yeah.
I grew up a Vikings fan, and yeah, I went to a couple games. Me and my family, we went to a couple games when I was a kid to the Metrodome. Like, I think we went to like 4 or 5 games or something growing up in Metrodome, but never been to the new stadium. So I think it'd be kind of cool to play there. But we played there in London this year, so we play the Vikings in London this year. So it's a bummer this year, but hopefully next couple of years.
How much did you, being a Vikings fan, influence you going to UNI because the colors are purple?
Maybe a little. I don't know. No, I don't think too much, but I mean, it's kind of cool. It could be same colors as them.
What's the one workout that the strength guys at UNI would have you do that you would just dread?
Does it have to be in the weight room, or could it be like conditioning?
It can be conditioning.
180s. 180s for sure.
And explain to me what that is.
It's basically, so it's winter conditioning. We do like from February. It's like 5 weeks in February or something, in March or whatever, like right before spring break. And it's like 6 in the morning. We got winter conditioning. It's like you do a bunch of these like conditioning drills, like mat drill, like different sprint drills, just stuff that you're going to be worn out from. And you do all that, and right at the end, you get Farley blowing his whistle, get on the line, and basically you run. It's like it's basically just conditioning on top of conditioning. Like, you're already dead, and you do 180s, which is like 180 meters, and you sprint around the track.
Oh,
and, yeah, it's pretty brutal. It's not fun. You usually got damn near half the team throwing up in trash. I mean, they set out trash cans for us, and just they're there for, half the team pretty much is puking. So
I think I talked to Cal Twait about those. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not fun.
All right, final question then, Trevor. You're 23 years old, going into the NFL now. What advice would you give your 18-year-old self that you didn't know then?
I would just say put your head down and work and not worry so much. Because I know when I was that age, like in high school, I was worried about, like, I really wanted to go to Iowa State, but they didn't want me. And I mean, it pissed me off. I mean, I really wanted to play at a big time school, but I was worried too much. I feel like, and I mean, football is football. You can go wherever, and if you're good enough, they'll find you. So I would say put your head down and work. Don't worry about the outside distractions. Don't believe the hype. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just work, play football, but just have fun, really.
I love that, man. Football is football. If you're good enough, they'll find you. Truer words can never be spoken, and it was definitely true in your case. So, Trevor, thank you so much for coming on the Moonlight Graham Show. Best of luck in your rookie season in the NFL. We can't wait to follow your career, and it's been awesome to see the success you've had thus far. So thanks, man.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you for listening to today's episode with Trevor Penning. And I was just looking up Trevor Penning at the Combine. I mean, this guy is a mountain of a man. And it's just incredible how athletic these offensive and defensive linemen are in the NFL right now. Here's Trevor Penning's Combine results. This guy ran a 40-yard dash in 4.89 seconds. Absolutely remarkable. He bench pressed 225 pounds 28 times, had a broad jump of 9 foot 3 inches, vertical jump of 28 inches, did the short shuttle in 4.62 and the 3 cone in 7.25. I'm not 100% sure what are good times in the 3 cone and the short shuttle. I'm sure those are quick times, but just the 4.89 40 and the vertical jump of 28 inches and the broad jump of 9'3" is just remarkable at how explosive these guys are, even after they put on like 100 pounds when they're in high school. It's incredible how they're able to maintain and grow their athleticism while putting on all that weight. Just an awesome thing. We saw it with Spencer Brown. We saw it with Cal Twait. And now, once again, we are seeing it with Trevor Penning. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode. Special thanks to the Moonlight Graham Show team, Andy Flattery, Neil Flattery. Shout out to Andy. Andy had his third baby this week, Vera Flattery. Vera Rose Flattery was born just the other day. Congrats to Andy and his wife, Ginevra. Of course, the great team over in Kansas City, where Brian Sambig is our producer. Brendan Gargano is our artwork guy. And of course, the trusted co-host, Tom Griffin, the real MVP of this podcast. And thanks to you, the Moonlighters, who listen each and every week. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you. Have a great week, Moonlighters.
It's Moonlight Graham, yeah. It's a pretty good program, broadcasting to the heartland. Sports stories for the everyman. It's Moonlight Graham, yeah. Please follow us on Instagram. You're loving us on Twitter too. You download every pod we do. It's Moonlight Graham.